Welcome to another episode of Biz Money Talks with Tracey Bissett. I am very excited. We have two very special guests today, Dr. Stacy Irvine and Tim Irvine, co-founders of Totum Life Science. And I'm going to let them walk you through a little bit about their background, a little bit more about Totum. And so, Tim, I'd love if you can share with us a little bit about your background, give us an overview of Totum. And as president, what a typical day looks like for you.
Okay, I'll try to keep it short and sweet. So, Saskatchewan, born and raised, played football in university, had great experience there. Met this amazing woman who I came to Ontario with and started Totum Life Science with. So it's a health and fitness company. We initially started on focusing on personal training only, and then did injury management as well for healthy, active people in general, and have just grown the business from there. And it's been very exciting. Particularly, the pandemic's been weird, but it's been opportunistic as well, as you'll learn a little bit more about. So we now have a different line of business as a result of it that we would never have had before. So those are the silver linings that come with it. So my typical day is I actually go in. I've been going in for most of the pandemic, because even when we were all closed down, there were still things to do. People were wanting to rent fitness equipment, so I took care of that. We had administration that we needed to have done that was on-site administration. And then our clinic opened June 1st of last year. So our team members are in the space, and they need to be supported, and I feel like I need to be there for them. So I'm the guy who does the stuff. And as you'll learn from Stacy, she does other things.
Wonderful. So Stacy, why don't you tell us about your background, your area of focus, and what your typical day looks like? Sure.
Thanks, Tracey, for having us on. This is great. So I am also from Saskatchewan, and I did a degree in kinesiology there, and then Tim and I were in the same master's program together. So I did a master's degree in exercise physiology. During that time, I competed as a heptathlete and did a ton of coaching, a lot of work in more high performance athletics. Tim and I both came to Toronto thinking that we were probably going to do our PhDs. We started working with tea and places like that. And we quickly got hooked into the entrepreneur lifestyle and have never really looked back. So we started Totum, and as soon as we started in the personal training, we also realized that a lot of our clients that we were working with had injuries. And so I decided to go back to school, and I did my chiropractic degree so that I could kind of help head up that aspect of our business. So now every location kind of has a sports medicine clinic associated with it, which has been a great addition. It is now about half of our business. And then the pandemic hit and everything went virtual. So we quickly shifted all of our sessions and all of our appointments to virtual, especially those first 3 months. And that was really stressful, but also really exciting. We had to learn a lot of new technology. And then in January, we launched our virtual wellness platform, which we are working more in a corporate environment. And that's been going fantastic because, as I'm sure a lot of your listeners will understand, people are quite stressed out these days. We're dealing with a lot of burnout, and we're dealing with situations that companies need some more guidance into ways to support the health of the people that work with their team. And that's what we've been working on. So a typical day for me is up early in the morning to walk the dogs. Mm-hmm. And then Tim and I also have 3 teenagers at home. So I kind of try to manage what they're doing online. We make sure they're fed. And then usually I'm so disgusted by what's happening, I try to leave the house in some way or form, and I might go into the clinic. I'm still seeing patients a few days a week. And then the rest of the time I'm working on administration and kind of big picture things within Totum.
Excellent. And I'm so glad you're both here because this show is all about talking about resources that can help business owners. And we need to take care of ourselves. We've got to be mentally sharp. We've got to be physically sharp. And like you mentioned, Stacy, when we feel burnt out, we're not doing the right things we need to do in our business. It might divert our focus from our clients. It might take our focus away from our priorities. We might forget about our financials. A whole bunch of things can happen. And all of that translates usually into lower revenue, lower profitability. And now we've got stress of another kind. So it's so great that you are here and able to talk about different things that you've seen over the last little while and ways that people can actually take back control of their physical and mental well-being, which is great. So Stacy, would love for you to dive into what you've seen during the pandemic. Certainly what changes you noticed in clients and patients, any new issues that have kind of cropped up over that time, and hear what you've been seeing.
So many things. Okay. In general, it changed as we went through the pandemic. And also, I think it's really important to realize that not all situations are the same. We've all been affected drastically by this pandemic, but some people, their workload actually increased. Yeah. And some people were stuck at home kind of trying to fill the hours of the day, especially initially. Both of those things are not great for our mental health, and they drastically increase our stress levels. So stress is usually managed by, things that we do for fun. So maybe our exercise, maybe our time with our friends, great leadership at work, going to see motivational speakers, working with a coach, possibly working with a financial advisor. All of those things were quickly taken away from us. And so you saw what happened with people was they had a lot of challenges with their mental health. So all the way to depression, to just kind of lack of motivation. And then as it progressed, we saw a ton of burnout. And I saw this across the board with all of my patients. And I also work with a lot of young athletes, and I saw it a ton with them because all their sports were taken away. And I think it's important to realize too, in Ontario, we've been through this longer than most places. And so we are more affected. And I'm sure most of you have noticed that when you call your friends who are in BC or, like yourself in the Atlantic bubble, that experience is different. And I think it's really good that we understand and acknowledge that. And I guess the general piece of advice that I would give is to understand first, the first thing is to acknowledge that this is happening and be very aware of it, to take some time to acknowledge how you feel about it. So they always say, if something is taken away from you, you should mourn that loss because that's what's good for you from a mental health standpoint. So whether it's patios or time with your grandparents or whatever's important to you that was taken away, make sure that you say, like, that makes me feel really badly, okay? And then you need to come up with a completely new strategy. So you just let go of the structure that you had that was working, and you say, okay, now what is my strategy? And some of the things that we've talked with our corporate clients about are, effective sleep management. That's huge. Mm-hmm. If you're not sleeping well on top of this, everything is just going to feel that much worse. Exercise, and specifically exercise outside in nature. So nature gives us hormones that we are lacking. It works on like kind of the serotonin and the endorphin. And those ones are really important for our mood enhancement. And then you need to kind of find where are you getting your exhilaration or your motivation from. And maybe it means that you hire a coach, or maybe it means that you sign up for a master class or something like that. So something on that you have on those times when you're feeling really down and unmotivated, something to pick you up. You might not have needed it before, but I'm really finding in this pandemic, you need that extra level of motivation.
Stacey, if I could just add one thing in there, I think if you have somebody that is close to you as well, ask them for feedback, because there's probably something that you're doing on a regular basis that you don't even know about that actually keeps you in that fog, right? So a good example is our kids, they are on the computer for school. They've been like that for most of the year. And then they take a break from school, recess, lunch, and they go onto their phone. And they don't understand like what kind of impact it's having. We see it and we notice it, but that's, I think, something that is important for each of us, because as we go through all of this, we're probably doing some things that actually perpetuate some of these negative feelings, emotions, and those sorts of things.
So true. I mean, I found like when you were talking about what the impact was and different to people, like I'm working way more than I ever have. And because all the meetings are online, I just stay at the computer. So now my shoulders are hurting, even my arms are hurting from too much time on the computer. And my very fun activities like going to concerts all got trashed last year. And I had like 25 concerts booked. Oh. And so then I didn't have my normal break times. And I've been staying out in Nova Scotia, and even my normal walk times with my dog, she won't walk with me here because she wants to stay with her grandparents. So all my normal little routines that were built in, they all disappeared, and getting and finding the new ones. So mourning what was lost. And I used to attend a lot of online concerts last year and see those things people were doing on Instagram and do it that way. But it's so important that we take that time to do it, which is key. So Tim, as we saw during the pandemic, you witnessed what was happening. Totum really stepped up to support clients and patients during that time with virtual services. And so Stacy alluded to it before and mentioned kind of briefly what you've been doing, but can you share in more detail what Totums put in place and what kind of came as the pandemic went along?
Sure. And I think there's one other group. It's our team members, okay. Right? We wanted to make sure that they were able to continue to do the things that they love. And you get into this business because you love helping people. Mm-hmm. So I think that Stace mentioned, we got shut down, and then within a few days, we started providing online services. We knew that people would need to continue care, that injuries were still going to happen, and we knew that new injuries would happen with the amount of inactivity people would have. So sitting at a desk in that same position for a long time. So that what you just mentioned, Tracey, with neck, shoulder, you name it. So we saw a lot of that initially and managed it from a virtual standpoint. And I think that that's an important piece that, we didn't really pay attention to before all this, but, more than 60% of conditions can be treated virtually. So if it's not easy to get to see someone, you can always see somebody online. And that's remained a part of our business, even with our clinic being open. And same thing with personal training. So we have had super consistent personal training all the way through. And I think that people who have adapted to fitness in their homes have come to understand, I can actually do this. It's not, I don't have to go to a gym, although Totum is a gym that you should go to, but that's a whole other story. But it is possible to do it. And so a little bit of equipment goes a long way, especially when you're getting professional direction. But I think probably the most exciting piece for us has been this corporate business to business component that we never had before. I shouldn't say we never had. We did a little bit of Totum University for corporations, but it was a presentation here, a class there. Whereas now we have this platform. It's an on-demand platform with what we call wellness content. So there's some fitness, but there's lots of health as well. So most platforms out there are fitness only. But what we have always done at Totum is this holistic approach. We want to make sure that you're getting good understanding of things that you can do to help your overall wellness. And then there's a live streaming component as well, which is, come do a yoga class, a Pilates class, a boot camp class. Like we're there because people can now do this stuff in their homes. And then there's a whole customized component as well, where we work with the corporation to say, like, what do you want to have happen? So we've done sleep related discussions and workshops. We've done burnout prevention and a whole host of others. So that piece is brand new business for us. So for Stacy and I as I alluded to, I do this stuff. She's the brains behind the operation. She comes up with amazing ideas that we then put into play. And it's been really fun, challenging, but in a different way. And we're helping, by extension through the virtual world, many, many more people than we were before.
Excellent. And I know you've learned many new skills during it, like videotaping the classes and doing different things like that. So that is fantastic. And I love that you highlighted with the clients, the patients, and your team as well. And so many employees are probably thinking right now, oh, I wish my organization had that and that I could do those things. Because I think what people found is, oh, I'll have more time I'm home. I can do workouts at home, but without accountability and without someone helping, that kind of falls by the wayside because you get into those ruts that Stacy talked about a little bit. So Stacy, as we look ahead and we're looking to brighter days, even in Ontario, lockdown is starting to lift and hopefully for the very last time. What should leaders and business owners be thinking about as they try to get their mental health and their physical health back on track? Any lessons that you can share from your experience would be great so that people don't go out and hurt themselves as they get back into reality and jumping into the swing of things.
Yeah, this is very important. And it's such a great point is there's some obvious things that we're dealing with pretty regularly. The fact that we've all been sitting more than, we probably ever have in our whole lifetime means that if you try to go out and, join your rec soccer league and play a full game on the first day, you're going to be in trouble. And that's what I'm seeing in clinic. So I'm seeing a couple things. I'm seeing kind of the weekend warrior syndrome, which we always saw, but COVID has made it, I'm not exaggerating, like 5 times worse because of all the sitting. And, we're not even like walking to our cars to go to the office. We're just not moving that much. So when you understand that, you need to do some really good work on your core. And you also need to do some really good work kind of on your ankle and your balance. So ankle strength and balance and stability are crucial to get back out into the real world and be able to do those activities that we absolutely love to do. So that's a really important piece. And then one of the reasons that we started the platform, and one of the things that I'm so proud of with the platform is that what came out initially was all these uber fit people doing crazy workouts, like, like basically like gymnasts, like, because that's what we kind of are drawn to on YouTube, right? Like, oh my God, look at what they're doing. But instead of just doing it, they were turning it into a workout. And then what was happening was the average person was trying to do that move. And that's a big mistake because if you don't look like the person on the screen and you don't have all those years of training behind you, and then you try to do those same moves, you're going to end up injured. And we saw so much of that. And we saw it on every level. Like I saw it even with like crazy Zumba workouts. I'd have in and saying, oh, well, I tried this and it didn't work. And the reason I find that so heartbreaking is lots of times people think it's their fault. It's like, oh my God, I'm not strong enough, or I wasn't in as good shape. It's not your fault at all. You really need to find a source to get back into shape that's doing it at your level and that's progressing you the right way. And again, that's kind of what we really focused on our platform that no one was doing because, beginner workouts aren't that exciting to watch. We all need to do them. We all need to know how to do a proper squat and a proper push-up, but it's not the most fun thing. It's not as fun as watching some guy with a 6-pack, like hanging from the bars and going all over the place. That's way more fun. And I get it. But when we try to do that, we get injured. So the two pieces are you've got to really progress slowly into whatever you're going to get back into, and then do it safe and don't feel intimidated by anything. If something's not working for you, try something else. There's so much information out there, but you want to really take care of your body. And you want to realize, like, we've been sitting and we've been like immobilized for a really long time. So it's going to take months to get back to even the level that you were at before the pandemic. And then you are good to go. And by all means, I encourage that. And the final thing I'll say about that is, again, get out in nature. It's beautiful out right now. And there's more benefits that we don't really understand. but they're so crucial. So time in nature, ease into it, and, enjoy yourself, and hopefully be with your friends while you're doing it.
Yeah, so we don't hurt ourselves, and then we're in another kind of lockdown where we're trapped at home recovering from some injury.
Exactly.
So we want to do it safely, and then being in nature, and certainly exercise is going to make us feel good
Yes,
mentally as well. So
yeah,
that is fantastic. Now, I'm going to pose this question to both of you, and I'm going to start with Tim. So you're both very active. I see you all the time. I follow you on Instagram with the dogs and with your family. And you're making the most of the situation, always out there in nature doing some things. What are you most excited for about the summer? And so we'll start with Tim.
Well, I love spending time outside, and we have an Airstream trailer up in Lake Country here in Ontario. So that's number one, because it's a break from the city, and like Stacey already said, the benefits that you get when you're there. And I really love diving under the water. A lot of people probably are similar to me that way, but all of a sudden you're in a different world. So I love that idea. And we are going to be doing something in August with respect to an actual vacation, which, we, like most people, haven't had for a long time. So to go someplace that we haven't been before, experience something new and different, I think that's something that I really look forward to.
Excellent. How about you, Stacey? Anything else that you didn't mention?
I'm so looking forward to online school being finished.
I'm sure many people are nodding their head yes if they're live or they're on the replay.
That's the first thing, because, oh my God, that is it's no fun for anyone. And so that gives us some freedom to do some fun things. My mom is coming to visit. She's our family's only, the only grandparent. She's coming to visit in a couple weeks, and she hasn't seen the kids for almost 2 years.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And the kids are really looking forward to that. And she's super excited. And they've taken up some new things. They've started golfing as a result of it being the only thing that we can do. And so we're going to do some more golfing. And then hopefully get down. We're both double vaccinated. The kids are as well, like on their way to being double vaccinated. We really want to get down to across the border at some point and just take a trip where we can kind of just leave all this behind. And I want to stop counting the numbers and looking at the cases. I really can't wait till that newsreel is out of my mind, and I never want to have to think about it again. And then moving forward into all the fun stuff that we like to do together with friends and other people, and, so many things.
Sounds fun. And definitely, I'm sure many people are looking forward to those things as well. And so want to get, before we wrap up, some final tips from each of you. And so it can be something that you've already mentioned that you want to reiterate, or something brand new you want to leave the listeners with. So Stacey, let's start with you, and then we'll head over to Tim next.
So I guess the one thing that I think is super important with this is it's something that we kind of talked about, but I really want people to not be hard on themselves about where they're at as a result of this pandemic. It really sent all of us into a whole different area that we were not expecting. And it's not our fault, and it's not a result of anything that we did. And I want people to really understand that, I had many days during this where I didn't accomplish hardly anything. Like I had mornings where I got up and I watched what my kids were doing, and it made me so sad that I want to go back to bed to cry for a bit, and the business was shut down, and what are you going to do? And I think that that's okay to feel that way. And then to me, the most important piece is to just try to do a little more each day. I have this hill that I'm trying to run up with my dogs, and I'm in way worse shape than I was before this. And so every day, on the days I'm feeling okay, and this is not every day, like I might be hungover or something, I just skip it. But on the days where I'm feeling okay, I just try to go a little further running up the hill. And that's good. And I feel good about it. And I don't think this is the time to be hard on ourselves and say like, oh my God, I should be doing more and I should be doing this. It is what it is. And we will get through it. Like you said, lockdown is lifting, but little tiny steps add up. And before you know it, we're going to be back to feeling normal again and better, hopefully.
Excellent. I love that. And that's how I often talk about financial fitness. We've got to take small little steps every day, and it's not one big thing we're going to learn. So that's great with our physical fitness too. And for you, Tim, final tips.
I think there's two things. One is boundaries. So Tracey, you alluded to like being able to work nonstop, right? So when you used to go to an office, right, you had before work and you had after work. And yes, you could have a little bit of work going on those ends, but now we're missing those parts. So implementing some boundaries for the benefit of yourself and your family, I think, is really important. So somehow the workday starts when and the workday ends when, right? So there's actually something that happens, the trigger event, that bookends your workday. That will be really helpful for everybody to leave work behind. And the second part is, and I think Stace talked about the fatigue side of things before. Yeah. So when you think about an athlete, and let's use Kawhi Leonard when he was with the Raptors, right? So load management. And did that pay off? It paid off for him because he could play his best at the most important time of the year. And if we don't have a little bit of mindset about rest recovery, right? So we keep plowing through. We know that there's this pressure there, but it's not that bad. But for a long period of time, that kind of pressure that's there actually eats away at us, and we're creeping towards burnout. So making sure that we're taking the time to properly rest and recover. So that's the sleep, that's the nutrition, all the things that those athletes would do to be at their best and not get injured or not play at a subpar level. That's what we also need to incorporate into our lives to a certain extent. We don't have to be LeBron James, but we do need to take care of ourselves a little bit better so that we can better handle the stresses that are here.
Excellent. And so, Tim, to wrap it up, what is Totum working on now, and where can people go to learn more about Totum as well as the both of you?
Main focus for Totum right now continues to be our virtual wellness platform. So it is a business-to-business approach, but any consumer can come in and get the information as well. So you can sign up at totum.ca, you go to virtual wellness there, and it gives you access to currently about 117 on-demand segments, and they run from a minute in length to 60 minutes in length. Some fitness, lots of health and wellness, a big variety of really great information that you can watch to get a better handle on your overall wellness. And then it's the live streaming fitness classes as well. So we want to try to help as many employees of companies as we can. I mean, that's what we love to do, is to help people, and what a way to do it.
Excellent. So you've all heard it here, how you can get involved, how you can take charge of your physical and mental health. Lots of great tips. So I thank you both very much for joining me today. Some of the things that I'm taking away are around, let's embrace taking progress slowly. Let's ease into what we need to do. Let's do it safely. Let's do it in nature. Set those boundaries so that we can make sure we're balancing everything that's going on. If we're feeling like we've lost something and we need to mourn it, to take that time and acknowledge it, and then look for something else that we can find joy in. So love the forward motion, and then also taking our time to rest and recover. So thank you both so much.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Tracey.
You're a quick learner.
You are welcome. And so for those business owners who've been listening, and really anybody who's been listening, so many great insights that you can put in practice into your life right away. You don't need to wait for anything to get started. For the business owners who've tuned in, you can keep this Biz Money conversation going by joining us at our Biz Money Club. So head over to bizmoneyclub.com. It's our weekly meetup where we just have a casual chat about all things that are going on. And enrollment is open now for our next round of the Cash Control Bootcamp. So I'll add the link to the comments, and you can check that out, and we'll be starting on July 8th. So thanks for joining us today. And until next time, take good care and stay financially fit.
Thanks, everyone.